Sharks is the worst movie that I think either of us have ever seen. We started out watching Avalanche Sharks thinking it was a satirical movie, making fun of the shark genre in general. But after we did some research, we found out that it was just a low-budget, made-for-TV movie that was completely unironic, unsatirical. The people who made this movie thought it was actually good. And that's the most disappointing part, that the people who made this movie thought it was good. I mean, just take a look at the trailer.
Supposed to be a week of chilling out. What started out as a mammoth vacation is about to go downhill fast.
Oh, crap.
Sharks, man!
Now, if they're going to make it off the mountain in one piece, they'll have to fight back or become shark bait in the coolest action horror adventure that will have you scared stiff. Avalanche Sharks. Snow bunnies, better watch out.
Honestly, for this movie, I'm gonna light this candle for St. Jude because I just think that this movie was so terrible. We need a little bit of a blessing to be able to go on. There we go.
St. Jude.
Yeah, St. Jude's lit, so now we're going to get a little bit of a blessing, if you know what we're saying. So, let's start off with a little bit of the plot of Avalanche Shark Avalanche, whatever it's called. So, Aiden, do you think Shark Avalanche has a plot?
Well, you said it wasn't satirical, and that is true, because the director made a whole bunch of other crappy movies. One of them is called...
Oh, come on!
Hello.
The reason why I'm calling you is to inform you that Review Center is doing a word of mouth advertisement.
That was a call from Kelly.
Don't talk about Kelly.
In India.
So, yeah, the movie wasn't satirical.
It wasn't satirical. They made a whole bunch of other movies. One of them was called, I think, like, Attack of the Killer Donuts from Outer Space. If we can bear it, we might watch that one later on, do another review. But, yeah. So obviously there was intended to have a plot, but it just wasn't there at all.
Okay, so the first line in the whole movie was this skier dude. He's like, "Snowboarding gives me a hard on." As soon as I heard that, line, I was like, "This movie has to be ironic."
All right, so the movie started out as like this. It started out as like a snowboarding montage like thing, like something you would see back in the early 2000s. And just do a little montage of them snowing down a mountain. That's how it started out. But basically, the premise of Avalanche Shark is there's this ski lodge that's up in Canada, and it was cursed by these Native Americans a long time ago, and they put some weird totems in the ground. They just caused sharks or whatever. So the whole reason the sharks get unleashed and stuff, we'll get into that later. It's absolutely outrageously stupid. The sharks get released. They just start killing off all the other, like, teenagers there just one by one. So basically the characters are just trying to figure out if the sharks are real, if they're not. Then eventually they, like, don't even realize they're real until, like, they kill someone right in front of them.
No one believes in these sharks until, like, the person in front of them dies. And that's another thing. This movie introduces so many characters, right? And you think, hey, maybe this story will follow them for a little bit. They'll just die, just randomly. You don't learn their names, but they're on camera for, like, 5 minutes. You don't know their names, but then they just die. They expect you to get emotionally attached to these characters, but the only character who doesn't die that you follow, spoiler alert, is Wade. Everyone else dies. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how the sharks got unleashed. There were these totem poles, like Aiden said, set up by the Native Americans. And in the beginning of this movie, after this first snowboarding montage, this guy in a truck comes up with a rocket launcher and shoots a missile at the mountain. He shoots a missile at the mountain. I remember
telling Logan when we were watching this, like, you know what the worst thing would be for the movie is that if you never saw the guy who shot the missile at the mountain again, and guess what? You never saw the guy who shot the missile. There was no context.
There was no reason as to why he shot this missile at the mountain, who he was.
So this dude literally just randomly...
He went to the Army surplus store.
Went to the Army surplus store, found he bought a mortar.
He bought a rocket launcher mortar.
And he just...
he just shot it at the mountain. The production design makes no sense. So half the characters are dressed in full winter clothing like it's -0 outside.
Well,
then the other half are in bikinis. Yeah. All of the males are wearing fully clothed snow.
They're ready for it.
But the girls are wearing bikinis, and the movie passes this off.
For the women, it's like the temperature is. It's
like 90 degrees. It's like they're at the beach. This movie is the worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And the fact that it's so unironic and the people who made this were so serious about it and thought it was good, it baffles me. And here's the crazy thing. The special effects were obviously horrible because these were ghost sharks or whatever. So they can just come and appear at any surface of water. The shark appears in a hot tub, goes up, and then comes back down and he's just gone. The special effects were terrible, but they were the least bad part about this movie. Because even the cameras, you'll have scenes that look like they're in 4K, like really nice shot scenes. Then the next scene will be completely out of focus and look like it was shot with like a laptop webcam. I just don't get it. Okay, so this character Brendan, you see him in the beginning of the movie and you expect him to be a main character, right? Like he's like driving to the mountain with like his girlfriend and like his girlfriend's mom or something. And it makes no sense, right? So you expect Brendan to be the main character.
Yeah.
But then you only see him one other time in the whole movie. He didn't even get killed by a shark. He just appeared one other place in the movie and then was just completely out of it. He was in there for no reason whatsoever. And that's what the thing is with most of the characters are. They're in the movie for no reason because they contribute nothing to this plot that doesn't exist.
Basically, if we're going to try to list as many as we can, because already they just don't really... Nothing about them is memorable. They didn't hardly mention the names or anything, so... We've already mentioned Wade. There's Wade's girlfriend who adds absolutely no input at all. This mom who we see Brendan pick up. There was the sheriff. He was, I guess, supposed to be like a decent enough like role.
He appeared in one scene. Then he got fired like in the next scene from his job as the sheriff. Then he comes back at the very end and just dies. Like, there's no character development.
So, there's also some of these other characters that were... I forgot what he called them. They probably called him, like, Mikey or something. He started out, he was in a hot tub with, like, 3 other women. And those 3 other women just stayed in the hot tub for
the whole movie.
Until the Avalanche shark came and ate 2 of them.
It would just randomly flash to them for no reason. They wouldn't even have any speaking lines. It just the movie was just getting boring, it would just flash to the women in bikinis just to keep interest. And then they did a little trick to keep people's interest. They talked about kind of in the middle of the movie how there's a bikini contest.
There's gonna be a bikini contest.
But then this so-called bikini contest never happened. It was just to keep people's interest so they'd keep watching the movie.
There's also this character in the movie who's supposedly, I don't know, important, but it's this old man. This old man is like, he's the one that believes in the shark. Like, he's crazy. He's been up in the mountain for a long time and stuff. You know, he knows the lore.
He knows about the sharks.
He knows about the sharks. But in the end, they, like, really dealt with him pretty bad. Like, I could tell they kind of wanted to make it...
Like a heroic
death for him. Like, how he wasn't going to let the shark take him down. And so, but basically what happened, it was at the final scene, you know, the main cast was, you know...
The main cast.
The main cast was, like, backed up against the truck like they were trying to get out, and the old man comes. He just starts shooting at the shark, and then the shark grabs his leg, and then Wade, who's also just out there trying to shoot the sharks,
Wade has a shotgun and he just shoots the old man's head off. Listen, if this review isn't making sense, like you don't understand that's not our fault. It's because we're explaining this movie like to the best of anyone's ability how they could. So yeah, no one was fazed at all like about any deaths that they saw. Like imagine you see a ghost shark just eat your friend in the mountains. Imagine how traumatized you'd be. No one has like any reaction at all to anything that's going on. Like these actors are very, 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 very terrible. And you know the worst line ever? Someone calls Wade stupid, and apparently he was like a Marine or whatever, so he goes, "I'm not stupid. I'm a Marine."
And I think the most annoying thing in the entire movie is the use of the guns. Because the guns do not do
the character it establishes that very early in the movie that guns don't do anything against these sharks, but until the last second of the movie, they're trying to use guns to kill these sharks.
The old man himself that we were talking about, he even said that
Guns won't do anything.
Guns are. You got a shotgun, sure, but that shotgun's not gonna do a dang thing to him. But later on in the movie, that same old man is using that same.
He's trying to use the same shotgun to kill the sharks.
Like there's literally zero the sharks backing off from the bullets at all.
And listen to this. How this movie is solved, right? So this random Asian lady that they put early in the morning or early in the movie,
By the
who
way,
doesn't speak English, she just goes up to the top of the mountain to ski, and she sees these totems knocked over, so she slowly puts each one up, and as each one goes up, one of the sharks goes away, and that's how the whole movie ends. Just this Asian lady puts these totems up.
One more thing about the ending, like the final shot, is when 3 survivors, they made it out, Wade, his girlfriend, and the other woman, they made it out, they drove away in the truck, and I think it might be the worst part of the movie, because Wade's girlfriend tells Wade, don't look back. But then Wade looks back 3 times right after she says that. Like in an attempt to make it a whatever poetic...
Trying to have some sort
poetic
of poetic
ending
ending
or whatever. Wade completely ruins it.
Well, I think it would have been ruined without Wade looking back.
Yeah, it still would have been ruined, but...
Alright, I know this didn't make sense, but thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Only a small portion of my viewers are actually subscribed, so it would mean a lot if you could just click the subscribe button. If you don't like my content later, you can just unsubscribe. This is Aiden. I'm Logan, and yeah.